Hello friends, Denny Pruto here with another lesson from the Westminster Shorter Catechism. This lesson has to do with the Ninth Commandment. Questions and answers 76, 77, and 78. Which is the Ninth Commandment? The Ninth Commandment is, Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. What is required in the Ninth Commandment? The Ninth Commandment requireth the maintaining and promoting of truth between man, and of our own and our neighbor's good name, especially in witness bearing. What is forbidden in the Ninth Commandment? The Ninth Commandment forbiddeth whatsoever is prejudicial to the truth, or injurious to our own or our neighbor's good name. The Ninth Commandment, always tell the truth. When I was a little guy, I remember running through our living room and knocking a lamp off of an end table. And of course, the lamp falling on the floor was broken. When my mother came into the room and said, "Denny, what did you do?" I looked at her in a rather astonished way and said, "The lamp jumped off the table." Well, of course, that's ridiculous. Lamps don't jump off of tables. And I was not telling the truth. This gets at the heart of the Ninth Commandment. Always tell the truth. Don't shade or distort the truth. When you're seeking to defend yourself, it's easy for you to shade the truth or to distort the truth just a little bit so that you come out looking the better. And in this way, you think you're protecting your good name. Listen to the exposition of the Ninth Commandment in the Catechism once again. The Ninth Commandment forbiddeth whatsoever is prejudicial to the truth or injurious to our own or our neighbor's good name. If you shade the truth in order to make yourself look good, when this comes out, you will not look good at all. And you undercut your own good name. So don't shade the truth or distort the truth. Don't tell partial truths. In other words, don't tell simply half the story when half the story doesn't give those who are querying you the full picture so that they can make an adequate decision with regard to the incident about which they're making their inquiry. If, when you have an automobile accident, tell the truth. Talk to the officers who are investigating the accident and tell them what has taken place. If this means that you're going to get a ticket, then so be it. Do not shade the truth or distort the truth or tell a partial truth to spare some expense and a ticket. I remember having run through a stop sign shortly after moving to Pennsylvania, and I was not used to the roadway, and a young man was coming across the intersection, and when he saw me not stopping fully at the stop sign, he swerved to get out of the road, and there was a slight fender bender. And as it turned out, it was not a reportable accident. But the young man desired to report the accident. Much to his dismay, when the officers came, he had to tell them that he did not have his driver's license with him, and he had to call his grandparents with whom he was staying in order to procure his driver's license. Because this was the case, the officers queried me more fully as to what took place, and I had to admit that I ran the stop sign. As a result, I got a ticket, and there were points put on my record, my driving record in Pennsylvania. Don't shade the truth or distort the truth or tell a partial truth or conceal the truth. Give all of the evidence that is required, even if it is detrimental to your own cause and your own case. And the opposite is true. Don't be silent in a just cause. If you have observed an accident and can be of assistance to individuals who were in the accident, don't be silent in the case when you can help the defendants in the case. Don't be silent in a just cause, and don't pervert the truth to your own ends. I was doing this when I told my mother that the lamp jumped off the table. This was a perversion of the truth. It was a lie. And you must not weaponize the truth. You must always speak the truth in love. And you must not use the truth in a vengeful way in order to get back at someone else. Don't weaponize the truth. And this does not mean in particular circumstances you ought not to tell the truth. The classic example in this case is when in the Second World War, Germans were hiding Jewish people in their basement or in their attic. And when the German authorities came by and asked the family, do you have any Jewish people hiding in your attic or in your basement? And they said no, this would be a lie. But it was a lie that was told in an unjust circumstance in which the Jewish people would have been taken away and put in the gas chambers by the German officials. And so the lie was told in order to preserve the life of the Jewish people. This was an extraordinary circumstance, and although it was a lie, it was not considered to be a violation of the Eighth Commandment. Beware here, however. Don't use these kinds of extreme circumstances as an excuse to not tell the truth yourself. One final illustration. Years ago, when my wife and I were traveling in Colorado Springs in Colorado, we came to a stoplight and came up behind a car where there was a bumper sticker. And I stared at the bumper sticker, which said, "What will happen, or what would happen if everyone told the truth?" I turned to my wife sitting next to me and said, in response to the question on the bumper sticker, the entire political establishment in Washington, D.C. would dissolve instantaneously. Too often, in the political realm, there is an effort to shade the truth, distort the truth, tell partial truths, conceal the truths, be silent in a just cause, and pervert the truth or weaponize the truth to use it against an opponent, so that the individual who is violating the eighth commandment in these ways will maintain his or her political position. This is a terrible state of affairs in our political discourse in the United States of America at this time. And all individuals, including all politicians, need to take heed to the commandment, "You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor." I have often said that I would like to be the chaplain of the Senate in Washington, D.C., in the United States of America. But I know this, that if I were the chaplain of the Senate and I began to go through the Ten Commandments in the devotional periods of the Senate, I probably wouldn't last 10 minutes. I probably wouldn't last a day in that office, because when I would come to this commandment, "You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor," I would be constrained to exhort all of those present in the Senate chamber not to shade, distort the truth, not to tell partial truths or conceal the truth, or be silent in a just cause, or pervert the truth for their political gain. This is an abhorrent thing before the great God of heaven, and it is no less abhorrent for those of us who are in a common place in our daily endeavors in this world. And so, friends, remember this commandment: "You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor." Make truth a priority in your life. Thanks for listening.